Hey everyone, John Martinez here with Midwest Revenue Group. So I've been asked a couple times recently about how to handle cold calls. And you actually want to handle cold calls a little bit different than you would handle inbound leads. You want to do this for a couple of reasons, right? First of all, it's a cold call. They don't know who you are, why you're calling, or anything like that. So they're gonna receive the call in a little bit different manner, in a little bit different mindset. So I want to go through just some cold calling basics. I'll give you a couple of sample script openings as well, and we'll just go from there. So this is cold call basics in the REI industry. So here we go. One of the most important things to remember when cold calling is to identify who you are and why you're calling as quickly as possible. So I want you guys to think of this scenario real quick, right? Who all gets cold calls or calls from salespeople? I want you to think about this, about how long into the call, how far into the call does it take before you know this is a salesperson or someone you don't usually talk to, right? It usually takes under a second. Their opening is something like, "Hi, is Mr. or Mrs. Smith there? Hi, may I speak to Steve, please? Hi, how are you doing today? May I speak to the owner of the house?" Right? Immediately, you know what this call's all about, and your brain goes into autopilot, okay? So I want you to think, when you get a call from a salesperson or a cold call, whether it's at your business or your home, what do you say? Don't you say the exact same thing every single time without even thinking about it? You see, when you identify the caller as a cold caller or salesperson, without even thinking, you've already queued up what you're going to say next. You turn off your ears, and I say, "Hey, not interested," or "Take me off your list." We all say different things, right? Some of us are a little nicer than others, but the point is, we immediately go into autopilot, shut down the call, and give our canned response without even thinking about it. So as we cold call our prospects, we want to stay off their radars, right? We don't want to be identified as a cold caller, okay? So we need to open up with a little bit of a different strategy. Also, when we open up, until we identify who we are and why we're calling, that's going to be the only question on our prospect's mind, so they will not even hear what you say or ask until you say, "This is who I am and this is why I'm calling." In fact, as we listen to these calls over and over, when callers fail to do that, their prospects will stop them in the tracks and go, hey, who are you again? Why are you calling? What do you want? Why are you calling me? And the call gets hostile right off the bat. So we want to stay off their salesperson radar. We're going to talk about that more in just a second. And we want to identify who we are and why we're calling. Okay? So next, always assume you've reached the right person. Most people use cell phones nowadays, right? So if you ask for a specific person, that salesperson stranger alarm is going to go off immediately. So when you guys get a call on your cell phone and they say, "Hey, is Josh there?" what do you automatically know? This is not somebody who usually calls me. They don't know this is my cell phone. People who call and use this number just say, "Hey, Josh, what's up?" Right? So that's another way we're going to stay off. Asking for the person. We don't live in that world anymore. It's very rare we actually call a house number where we ask for someone and there's 4 or 5 people who answer to the same phone number, right? One phone number, one person. That's the world we live in today. And when we don't understand that and use that when cold calling, we're immediately going to set off that salesperson stranger alarm, and our prospect's going to start pushing back and get a little hesitant, start to ask themselves, "Who is this person? Why are they calling?" So just ask for them by name. "Hey, Josh," however you want to do it. Don't ask, "Is blank there? Is blank around?" Because that will set off the alarm, right? We got to do what works most of the time, and this is what's going to work most of the time. Sometimes will you reach a number where it's a house phone? Yeah, sure, but who cares? If you just assume it's that person, "Hey, Josh," if it's not that person, they're going to correct you and go, "Oh, no, this isn't Josh. This is his wife. I'll go get him," right? So ask by name, assume you've got the right person immediately. Okay, when we do these things, we really don't want to volunteer our intelligence either. So what do I mean by that? I mean, we might be calling off a cold call list where it's for sale by owners. It might be a probate list. It might be recent divorces. We don't need to share where we got their information. That's only going to lead to more questions. Okay, it's only going to take that conversation down a rabbit hole. So don't say, hey, I was browsing the ads. Hey, I pulled up the legal listing in the newspaper. Try to leave that alone, because that'll take the conversation down a whole nother path you don't want to go down. So here's what a simple opening would sound like. Hey, this is John with We Buy Houses. You know what? We do buy houses, and we're actually looking to buy one in your area right now. Would you be interested in getting a cash offer for your property just to see what we'd be willing to pay for yours? I like to soften it up a little bit. I'll even throw in something like this. Hey, this is John with We Buy Houses. Hey, listen, I know this call is really out of the blue, and I might have caught you by surprise, but I'm looking to buy a house in your area right now, and I was just wondering if you'd be interested in getting a cash offer for your property just to see what we'd be willing to pay for yours. Okay? When you do this type of call, here's the mindset you have to have. Imagine as you make this call, you are driving down the street in your car or your truck. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch a house. Might be a vacant house, might be a house you like the look of, and you simply pick up your phone and you look up the number and you get a hold of that person. That's the tonality. That's the way the call has to sound. Hey, this is John. I buy houses, and I'm actually looking to buy a house in your area right now. I know this call is really out of the blue, but would you be interested in getting a cash offer for your property just to see what we'd even be willing to pay for it? Right? Make it nice and soft and natural sounding. You don't want it to sound like a call center. So here's another sample script for vacant properties, sometimes skip trace properties. The opening would sound like this. Hey, my name's John. Listen, my partner drove by a property at 123 Smith Street a few weeks ago. I think the property might be for sale, but there wasn't a sign in the yard. We were interested in it, and I'd love to make a cash offer on it. Are you the owner of the property by chance? So this is great for vacant properties, right? So that's how you want to go into it. It's a vacant property, maybe sell, maybe not for sale. Who cares? But hey, listen, this is great for virtual assistants too. Okay, I've used this with virtual assistants, extremely effective. Hey, my name's John. This call is kind of out of the blue, but my partner drove by a property at 123 Smith Street a few weeks ago. I think the property's for sale, but there wasn't a sign in the yard. We're interested in it. I'd love to make a cash offer on it. Are you by chance the owner of that property? Right, so also with skip trace, we're going to say the property owner of the property if we can. We're going to use the address of the property if we can. We might not be talking to the actual property owner, so this is a great cold reach out that feels very warm and natural. If they're not the owner, here's where you go with it. Hey, listen, I've got the owner of the property is Sam Smith, but I haven't been able to reach him. I'm calling you because I thought you might know Sam. Do you happen to be familiar with Sam Smith or the property at 123 Smith Street? Very nice, very warm, very gentle, okay? Very natural. Let's keep going. Here's some questions you might get. Why do you think I'm selling my house? You know, we really didn't know if you were selling, but I am looking to buy a house in your area, so I contacted you. What's your offer? You know, I'm not even sure yet. What I do is collect a little bit of information on the phone, and then I pass it to my home buying specialist, and he works on the offer and gets back in touch with you. Have you actually seen my house? You know, I haven't personally seen your home, but we're looking to buy a house in that area. How do you come up with your offer? Great question. That's the job of our home buying specialist. I just collect the information and pass it on if you're interested in even getting an offer. You know what? I appreciate the call, but I'm not sure I'm going to sell. Hey, that makes perfect sense. Listen, by receiving an offer from us, you're not under any obligation to do anything. How'd you get my information? You could go a couple ways with this depending on what kind of call it is. Could be, you know what, I really don't know. Our marketing department pulls that information for us. From where? Honestly, I really don't know. Public record somewhere. Or how'd you get my information? You know what, my business partner must have driven by and seen the house and just passed along the address to me. I did a quick, simple web search. I didn't know if I was getting the right person or not, just trying to find the owner so we could make a cash offer. They might ask, why can't you give me the offer? Why do I need to talk to someone else? Hey, great question. You know, I just help collect some basic information and I pass it on to our home buying specialist. They have the tools to actually calculate the offer. Okay, so guys, that was cold call basics. Contact me, John at MidwestRev.com, if you need more information or to go into greater detail. Let me know if you need those actual scripts. After you get to that opening, if they have interest, you're going to want to just flow right into your normal call script, right, where you collect some property information, you gauge motivation, and you either set the appointment or hand it off to your home buying specialist. Okay, but here's the things to remember. Cold calling is a different kind of call. Assume you know who you're talking to. Identify yourself and why you're calling right away. And make it sound very natural. This isn't a cold call center environment. Imagine yourself driving down the road, picking up the phone and saying, hey, I saw your house, love to make an offer on it. It's got to feel that natural for people to talk to you. Guys, my name is John Martinez. You can find info about my company at MidwestRev.com or email me directly, john@MidwestRev.com. Have a great day, everyone.